Yo, you know what I'm saying? We got the film theory. This is Disney's worst fear. Winnie the Pooh, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to watch this. You know what I'm saying? Is it bad? Is it good? I don't know. Did it even drop? Is it? Is it out yet? I don't think so. If it is out, that marketing was. I ain't gonna lie. They announced it, and that was that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we don't see what they talking about, bro. Listen. Um, you guys suggested me to react to the film theorist, the style theorist, and the food theorist. So you know what I'm saying? If those reactions do well, I'll keep doing them. If not, I'll pinpoint which ones I want to do. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? But let's see what they talking about.
Wait, no, you can't do this. Let me go.
Oh, but Matt Pat, I definitely can.
No, please. I don't want to watch a cinematic universe full of crappy Disney rip-off horror movies.
Well, too bad! This is the world we're living in now, Matt Pat, and you only have one person to blame for it.
It's you?
You better believe it.
No!
Let's go. That too. Why'd they go the route they did with Winnie the Pooh? You know what I'm saying?
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that wants you to maul that subscribe button like a rabid teddy bear that's looking for honey. So, have you guys seen this ridiculous Winnie the Pooh horror movie that just came out? Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Yeah, some indie filmmakers have decided to take the lovable Pooh Bear from the 100-Acre Wood and put a unique spin on the idea, to say the least. Reimagining the story for children as a decidedly adult-oriented slasher movie. Well, the film has been absolutely eviscerated by both fans and
Yeah, that shit was ass, bro. Again, they announced it. You feel me? After that, I ain't heard shit from it, bro. Marketing was
critics. The sheer novelty of the idea of the adorable Pooh Bear and his pals going on a murderous rampage has earned a respectable $3.8 million so far, off of a budget that was smaller than $100K.
Damn, okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I feel like they made that much money out of curiosity. A lot of people were curious as to like how they would go about this. You know what I'm saying? Because again, Winnie the Pooh, it wasn't the cartoon. It's not scary. I don't feel like it was ever meant to be scary. There was no signs of it being scary or, you know what I'm saying, or horror, none of that. So I don't know, bro. I feel like curiosity played a big fucking role in their sales.
It is enough of a profit that the filmmakers have already announced a sequel, as well as similar horror adaptations for other Disney classics like Bambi the Reckoning and Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, all of which will be part of a shared universe, because of course they will be. Now, there's probably another theory in here somewhere about how and why these low-budget horror movies get made and how successful they are for the studios, but for today, I just wanted to ask the simple question of how exactly does this movie exist? Like, legally, how did they get away with this thing? Well, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey exists because the Winnie the Pooh franchise no longer belongs only to Disney. It actually belongs to you. Yes, you sitting at home without your pants on. Literally you. You see, back at the beginning of 2020...
Belongs to me? I need a cut of this shit. Where's my bread? What you mean?
Belongs to you. Yes, you sitting at home without your pants on. Literally you. You see, back at the beginning of 2022, Winnie the Pooh entered the public domain here in the United States, meaning that it's no longer protected by copyright. So now anyone can use these characters and stories in practically any way they want.
So I could react to this motherfucker? I don't know.
Writing their own sequels, having Pooh and the Friends in their own franchises outside the original work, adapting them into gratuitously violent horror movies. And Winnie the Pooh is not the only major work that's on its way to being owned by everyone. You see, loyal theorists, the world of entertainment is about to get very interesting. Things are changing fast on all fronts, with a lot of very precious and iconic stories and characters entering the public domain.
Gal Gadot, I love you.
With way more coming out in the near future. Along with the lovable Pooh Bear, every single Sherlock Holmes story entered the public domain in 2023. Massive pillars of pop culture like Superman and The Hobbit, they're set to enter in 2033. And if a decade is too far away for you, the granddaddy of modern entertainment characters himself, Mickey Mouse, is set to enter the public domain in 2024. Yeah, next January. That's gotta be real uncomfortable for the company that looks at their IP and thinks,
I own the Death Star, I own Tatooine, it's all...
What? Bro, why though? I hope he explains why. That's crazy. Mickey Mouse? What?
For the company that looks at their IP and thinks,
I own the Death Star, I own Tatooine, it's all mine!
Well, hold on to your horses there, friendos. There's a reason Walt's empire ain't too scared of Mickey's impending release into public ownership. During my research looking into how exactly these filmmakers got away with making this off-brand horror Winnie the Pooh murder movie, I discovered a horrible truth about the way these sorts of laws work. And spoiler alert, you will likely never be able to use any of these iconic characters owned by corporations like Disney and WB and Universal. And I realized all of that...
Bro, not happening. Public domain, cool, but like... Hey man,
characters owned by corporations like Disney and WB and Universal. And I realized all of that just because of this Winnie the Pooh slasher flick. Blood and Honey is far more than a ridiculous attempt at making money for shock value. It's a peek into the terrible future for these characters as their corporate overlords try to keep their claws in their IP. And it all comes down to the scariest thing of all, legal loopholes. Oh, bother. Grab your buckets of honey and machetes, loyal theorists. It's time to carve our way into this mess. Before we get started, let me just call out, this theory is only going to be looking into and explaining copyright law for the US. That's not to say that other countries and their laws are unimportant. It's more to say that basically every country on Earth has different laws regarding this sort of thing. And if we tried to hash out every single rule in every single country, things would get very complex, very long, and very boring in a hurry. Additionally, sometimes I feel like this goes without saying, but we here at Team Theorists are not lawyers. This is not legal advice. We're just a bunch of nerds with a lot of free time on our hands and an obscene interest in who owns what in the entertainment industry. So to start things off, I feel like we need to be on the same page here. What even is a copyright anyway? Sure, you've heard the term, but it's kind of a weird nebulous idea that can be slippery and difficult to get a real grip on. Basically, a copyright is protection granted by law for original works that you make. It ensures that anything original that you write or make belongs only to you. You don't even have to publish it. If you make something original, it's yours automatically no matter what. And it covers a lot of different mediums: books, poetry, movies, music, even computer software and architecture. That being said, a copyright doesn't protect facts, ideas, or systems. If you want an example of what I mean, let's just look at the Theorist channels. We don't own the idea or the format of a theory about games, film, TV, food, style, whatever. We can't copyright the concept of a theory. Anyone can make their own theory videos here on YouTube, and in fact, we outright encourage that. It is awesome to see. But we do own a copyright over the stuff like our exact thumbnail, the scripts that we write, the videos that we edit. So anyone can go and make their own theories. They can even make theories that spin off of our own, but they can't outright take our theories and re-upload them as is. To take a look back at Winnie the Pooh, the name, the characters within Pooh, the art, the designs, the exact writings, all of them were protected by copyright. But the idea of a child being friends with a living teddy bear, stuffed pig, rabbit doll, etc., going on adventures out in the woods, that isn't protected by the copyright. How then did these indie filmmakers manage to get the rights to use Winnie the Pooh in this horror movie that Disney definitely didn't authorize? Well, a copyright doesn't last forever, and when they expire, the works they protected enter the public domain. As I mentioned at the top of the episode, that means that this work now belongs to the public, and anyone can do anything they'd like with it. The first number put on
So why not? Why let it go to the public when, like, can you like? Why let it go to the public when you can prevent it? Can you prevent it? You know what I'm saying?
Work now belongs to the public, and anyone can do anything they'd like with it. The first number put on copyright laws in the United States was from the Copyright Act of 1790, which gave authors 14 years of protection and the ability to apply for an additional 14 years after that.
14. All right, so 28 years. What? And then after that, they can't renew it? Bro, what?
That period has since been extended several times throughout the centuries, most recently in 1998 with the Copyright Term Extension Act. Currently, a copyright lasts for the entire lifetime of the author, plus an additional 70 years if the work was created by a person. Damn. If it was created by a corporation, the copyright lasts for either 120 years after its creation or 95 years after its publication, whichever one comes first. Fun fact, that Copyright Term Extension Act from 1998 was actually nicknamed the Mickey Mouse Protection Act, because Disney was one of the primary companies lobbying hard to get that thing passed. I'm gonna choose to believe that they offered everyone who voted in favor of it a free trip to Disney World. So is Disney just gonna roll into town and pay off the American?
Nah, bro, that is, bro, a free trip to Disney World, bro. That, yo, who's gonna deny that? Like, let's be honest. That's crazy.
In favor of it, a free trip to Disney World.
That's
so
crazy.
is Disney just gonna roll into town and pay off the American government to extend that copyright again like they did before? Well, no, probably not, and for a few reasons. First of all, with control of the US House, Senate, and White House split between parties, not a whole lot is getting done in Washington these days. Secondly, one of those major political parties ain't too big of a fan of the mouse these days. So if you think you're getting any of them to back a bill that would directly benefit the company, better think again. Lastly, and
you're not a fan of Mickey Mouse? Why? And you're so adamant about it. You don't want to pass, pretty much, you don't want to prevent it from going public? What?
House, Senate, and White House split between parties, not a whole lot is getting done in Washington these days. Secondly, one of those major political parties ain't too big of a fan of the mouse these days. So if you think you're getting any of them to back a bill that would directly benefit the company, better think again. Lastly, and probably most importantly, it's not 1998 anymore. The times, they are changing. Back then, when the internet was young, information sometimes took a while to travel. Times, they are changing. Back then, when the internet was young, information sometimes took a while to travel. People couldn't easily look up the entire world's worth of information with a Wikipedia search. Corporations like Disney putting all this pressure on Congress to extend copyright, that could be done under the table. But now, if Disney tried anything shady like that, Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, and TikTok would be all over them in a heartbeat. We're talking about a company that used to sue daycare centers for having unauthorized murals of Mickey and friends in the 80s. But nowadays, in 2020, when an elementary school screened a legal copy of The Lion King as part of a fundraiser, Disney tried to fine them for it, only for the internet to blow up in a righteous fury, forcing the mouse to apologize and CEO Bob Iger to personally donate to that.
All that huffing and puffing just for you to end up paying money. Bro. Fuck nah, gang. That's I get it. I get it, bro. You create something, you don't want it stolen, you don't want it used anywhere, unless, I don't know, some people might want the credit, some people might want the money that comes with it for having that permission to have their shit used, you know what I'm saying? But like, bruh, you're that money hungry? You're that money hungry, bruh. I don't know, it's probably deeper than that. I'm thinking of it more in like a broad aspect, I guess, you know what I'm saying? Just very broad, but like,
as part of a fundraiser, Disney tried to fine them for it, only for the internet to blow up in a righteous fury, forcing the mouse to apologize and CEO Bob Iger to personally donate to that fundraiser instead. The power dynamic has shifted. So if Disney either won't or can't extend the copyright again, is that it? Are we gonna be seeing horror movie knockoffs of Mickeys and Donald Ducks and Goofies popping up everywhere next year, just like we did with Winnie the Pooh? Is everyone gonna own iconic characters like Mickey Mouse?
I mean, hey, if that's the case, that'd be some, you know what I'm saying? That'd be a good thing to get into, bruh. Because I'm sure a lot of people have ideas already of creating films and stuff. And it's like, if they can use these characters that everybody knows, obviously it's going to attract some people. So, hey, you know, it's a money move right there.
Up everywhere next year, just like we did with Winnie the Pooh. Is everyone gonna own iconic characters like Mickey Mouse and Superman? Well, not exactly. See, when a work enters the public domain, that doesn't mean that every iteration of everything in that work also enters along with it. It's only the content in that original work as it existed in that original work. So, looking at Pooh Bear, the only stuff that's entered the public domain right now are the depictions of Pooh, Piglet, Christopher Robin, and all of their friends from the very original 1926 book by A.A. Milne as they existed in that 1926 book. And there's some pretty significant stuff missing from that work. One big one, Pooh's red shirt. It wasn't added to the character until 1932 for an RCA picture record, a full 6 years after the character debuted. That means you won't be clear to use a cute little red shirt on your public domain Pooh Bear murder movie until January 1st, 2028. This is actually why the Pooh in Blood and Honey has a red flannel shirt with overalls instead of a red shirt that's 3 sizes too small. In fact, if you watch the movie, you might have noticed one of our fuzzy friends missing from the 100-acre wood. While Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore, Rabbit, and Owl all make an appearance, Tigger was nowhere to be found, because he didn't debut until 1928 in the book The House at Pooh Corner, so he won't be in the public domain until January 1st, 2024, just in time for the sequel to Blood and Honey. Wouldn't even surprise me. Winnie the Pooh 2, The Bloody Bouncing Buddy. And this goes for everything else that we've talked about so far. Sure.
Hey, you're Matt. You better, you're not saying, wait.
The Pooh 2, The Bloody.
Is that the actual name? If not, They about to take it, bro.
Bouncing buddy. And this goes for everything else that we've talked about so far. Sure, when stuff like The Hobbit hits public domain, you can use Bilbo and Gandalf and Smaug and Middle-earth in the official Hobbit fanfiction that you've been chipping away at, or anything else you want to write for that matter, but you can't reference any of the stuff from Lord of the Rings, or use any of the iconic Middle-earth art beyond what was published in 1937. For Superman, you can include the character in your stories, his origins from Krypton, as well as his dual life as Clark Kent, but the only powers that he can have are super strength, being faster than a speeding train, and the ability to leap tall buildings in a single bound. All of the stuff that he had when he debuted in 1938. No flight, no heat vision, no ice breath, no x-ray vision. You know, all those things that make Superman a Superman. Mickey Mouse might be the character that's actually changed the most here, though. The original Mickey from Steamboat Willie was exclusively black and white. He had a long tail, his eyes were just small pupils, he was a troublemaking boat pilot. Everything we associate with Mickey today, the red pants, the modern smiling face, the friendly personality, the edgy leather hoodie, all of that came later. And anyone trying to use that stuff starting next January when Steamboat Willie enters the public domain, they are sticking their fingers into a legal mouse trap. But even with all that aside, things are entering the public
domain. Be careful, you
domain. It might just be slower than everyone expects. Over the next decade or so, we'll still be able to use some version of iconic characters like Winnie the Pooh and Gandalf and Superman and Mickey Mouse himself in all of our own stuff, just with a few limitations. And eventually we'll be able to use all of the iconic parts of these characters and their stories for ourselves, right? Well,
that's crazy, bro. Imagine a Winnie the Pooh. I don't know. Imagine like a Mickey Mouse, I don't know, bro. Freaking horror movie or a Superman love story type, you know what I'm saying?
In theory, in copyright theory, yes, eventually. But you best hold on to your horses before you get too excited there, friendos. See, there's another side to this legal coin that I don't see anyone addressing. Well, the copyright that these companies hold for these older books and cartoons and comics are expiring soon. Their trademarks aren't and likely never will. Wait, I hear you asking, what's the difference between copyright and trademark? Well, trademarks and copyrights are very similar things, enough so that I wouldn't be surprised if you got them confused, but they have very different purposes. While a copyright's meant to protect someone's original creative work, like I explained above, a trademark is meant to protect their brand. They're designed to help a consumer identify the origin of a product or service, so they know exactly what they're spending their money on. Think of it like a seal of quality. For instance, if you see that iconic Disney logo on something, the one that looks like a signature with the D that kind of looks like a G, you know immediately that this is a product that's created and approved by the Walt Disney Company. That isn't just some knockoff. But the big twist here for trademarks is that they don't expire. As long as someone is using their trademark, submits the proper paperwork to renew them, and defends the trademark against anyone trying to use them, then they keep that trademark forever. And trademarks can cover a huge variety of things, including names, words, phrases, logos, symbols, designs, but also things that you wouldn't expect like colors, smells, sounds. And you best believe that companies are trying to take advantage of that as much as they can. If you look up the word Superman on the United States Patent and Trademark Office database, you'll be given a ton of results showing that DC Comics owns the trademark for Superman, spelled this way, in just about everything you can imagine. Most of it makes sense, like comic magazines, books concerning memorabilia, motion pictures and television programs, toy doll figures, etc. But they also grabbed it for things like lunchboxes, toothbrushes, towels and blankets, advertising, and candy. Remember, that means that they're the only ones who can release comics and books and movies and toys just labeled as Superman. So if you want to use Superman in the title of your product after it enters the public domain, you're gonna have to get real creative with how you use Superman in the title of pretty much anything that you make ever. Maybe get your hyphens ready and witness the rise of Superman. But see, now that just looks...
Or take some letters out, you know what I'm saying? Or add some.
Weird. Something else you'd probably never be able to use? The recognizable iconography of Superman. Specifically his S shield crest on his chest and the Superman logo. Both of those things are trademarked by DC, and you can bet that they are defending them vigorously, because those are key parts of the Superman IP that they outright own and that connects the brand to DC. When you see the shield, DC wants you to know that this is the official DC product. So yeah, once Superman enters the public domain, you might be able to use Superman in your story, but if you have to be that careful about the name, logo, and crest of the character in any of the products and marketing, is it even worth using?
Yeah, is it even worth it wasting that time? You know what I'm saying? It's just, you gotta be tedious, bro. You gotta change You gotta change a lot of that ass.
Careful about the name, logo, and crest of the character in any of the products and marketing. Is it even worth using him at that point? The same goes for all the other heavy hitters that I've been talking about today. Middle-earth Enterprises and their parent company owns the trademark for basically any combination of the words "the" and "Hobbit" that you can think of, covering everything from toys to tea to cardboard cutouts and drinking steins. So sure, once the Hobbit hits public domain, maybe Dungeons and Dragons can call their halflings hobbits again without getting sued, but good luck to anyone wanting to start up their afternoon tea company themed around and named after hobbits. Likewise, Disney owns the trademark for Winnie the Pooh regarding basically everything that you can imagine, as well as some things you probably can't imagine, like gloves and hosiery. That one is so oddly specific. So anyone wanting to use Pooh in their public domain horror film is gonna have to get creative and or specific with their names and portrayals. And you see, that's exactly what happened with Blood and Honey. There is a trademark registered for the logo of Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, specifically for the production and distribution of film and television and for t-shirts. Because you gotta get that merch game on, baby. I'm assuming that the people behind this film wanted to make sure that there wouldn't be any knockoff merch available in Hot Topic. Only the real deal knockoff merch. But you notice anything else funky about this registration as compared to that mountain of Disney-owned trademarks?
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, shirts for men and women, t-shirts, production, printable live, 1A, Winnie the Pooh, I don't know.
The registration for Blood and Honey is super specific, claiming, quote, the colors red and light orange, and the, quote, blood red orange lettering of the title of motion picture. They're only trademarking the logo and its color palette, nothing generic like the entire phrase Winnie the Pooh across all children's media or whatever. What's more, notice any other differences in the names? I mean, sure, the Blood and Honey mark has that subtitle, but unlike all of the Disney marks, it also has dashes between Winnie the Pooh. That makes it just different enough, just stylized enough to help them stand out from anything Disney related. Honestly, if the purpose of trademarks is to help customers identify the origin of a product, the fact that Blood and Honey is so stupidly violent and so obviously not something Disney would authorize probably protected these filmmakers more than anything else. Now, normally I'd think that this is where we could wrap things up. We've done the whole, hey, this thing you think you know actually isn't that way, and there's this other thing that'll change your perspective on it shtick. But there is an extra twist here, loyal theorists. A fact I uncovered that transforms this conversation about the quirks of copyright law into a conspiracy about the
These edits go hard, I ain't gonna lie.
Fact I uncovered that transforms this conversation about the quirks of copyright law into a conspiracy about these mega corporations twisting the rules to benefit them. And it all comes back to the mouse, literally. Throughout this entire theory, we've touched on how Mickey Mouse is about to enter the public domain, how Disney's delayed the inevitable for decades, how they won't be able to do it again. And all of that is still true. Likewise, everything we've said about Superman and The Hobbit and Winnie the Pooh also applies here. Disney owns a ton of trademarks around Mickey Mouse, which makes a lot of sense. He's an integral part of their brand, so much so that they've started incorporating him into all sorts of branding within their company. But you see what I just said right there? That right there is the genius 4D chess 1 billion IQ move that these companies are starting to make. These companies understand how trademarks work, and they're starting to weaponize them in an effort to shut down public domain as we know it today. When I started looking into all this for the theory, the fact that Disney appeared to not be fighting to keep their golden goose protected by the law honestly shocked me more than anything else. Mickey Mouse is Disney, and they want everyone
facts, bro. Literally. Perfect way to put it.
Protected by the law honestly shocked me more than anything else. Mickey Mouse is Disney, and they want everyone else to think so too. So what have they done? Well, in 2007, they redesigned their logo for their flagship animation company, Walt Disney Animation Studios. These are the people who make stuff like Frozen, Encanto, Tangled, all the Disney fairy tale heavy hitters. And what was that redesigned logo? The literal frames of animation from the most iconic part of Steamboat Willie, whistle and all. That logo, you betcha it's trademarked. Disney found a way to get true, permanent control over the most important parts of the first release of their most popular character. All of it while playing within the bounds of the law. So sure, when Steamboat Willie and Mickey sail down the river into the public domain in January of next year, maybe you can navigate your way through all of this legal minefield. Maybe you could figure out a way to use Mickey as he first appeared here in Steamboat Willie, without using the exact iconic frames from this trademarked logo, while transforming it all enough to be distinct from Disney's brand. Maybe you could have yourself a black and white movie with a mischievous monochromatic mouse set on a boat whistling as he gets up to no good. You know, when you put it that way, it actually sounds a whole lot like the perfect setup for a horror movie. And thus, everything circles back around to Blood and Honey. I wasn't kidding at the top of this theory when I said that the true horror of this movie was the copyright laws surrounding it. Because I believe that this horror remake of Winnie the Pooh is setting the precedent for how we're gonna see many of these beloved characters interpreted by other artists as they enter the public domain. Especially for characters like Pooh and Mickey and Superman. Seriously, these guys are gonna look so different from what we're used to seeing that they might as well all be low-budget B horror movies. Or, you know, you could just take your ideas and turn them into original IP so that way you can own those things for yourself. Then again, looking at the box office performance for Blood and Honey, yeah, no one's gonna do that. Feed me the nostalgia berries. But hey, if you want even more insight into shady legal shenanigans, you should go check out our brand new...
Crazy, bro. That's insane. Like literally at the beginning, I'm like, oh shit, like that's some ideas for people, you know what I'm saying? Like they gonna finesse this, they gonna use Mickey Mouse, do a bunch of things, but then it's like, slow down, partner. We still own that thing. It's public, but we still, you know what I'm saying? This shit crazy. That Pat literally taught me more about public domain, copyright, and trademarks than any other my schools with. Facts, bro. Facts. Disney sued and threatened a children's hospital for having a Peter Pan themed room play center to help the kids cheer up and socialize, even though they were using it based on public domain and weren't even using the Disney characters. It's nice seeing someone use the public domain to scare Disney like that. Okay, now I'm officially convinced he can turn anything into a theory. Let me see. I've noticed the addition of the Steamboat Willie animation into the Disney logo, but I also thought it was just a fun reference and callback to the origins of the company, a way to honor their heritage. I never realized that it was a skeezy way to dodge copyright law. That kind of makes me feel bad. Bro, they know what they're doing, bro. You know what I'm saying? They know what they're doing. I don't know why, but I absolutely love it when the Theorists channel starts talking about copyright, trademarks in the public domain and seeing the lengths companies are willing to go to keep their IPs in their control. It's public, but not really. It's one of those things, right? It's like, it's something, it's like too good to be true type shit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if we see a Mickey Mouse movie, hey, they did something. They worked around it. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you guys thought. That's my reaction. If you enjoyed, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'm out.